Nick Ball heartbroken as Brandon Figueroa scores 12th round KO. At NCB 7AI, we present the full fight breakdown. We saw pressure, precision, and a championship finish. Let's talk about what really happened in Nick Ball versus Brandon Figueroa. Because this wasn't just a fight, it was a collision of styles. It was precision pressure against attritional pressure. And ultimately it was endurance versus timing. Brandon Figueroa stopped Nick Ball in the 12th round to capture the WBA Featherweight title. But the story of this fight runs far deeper than the knockout. Going into the final round, two judges had Figueroa ahead, 106-103, while one had Ball up 107-102. So this wasn't domination, this was razor close, and that makes the ending even more dramatic. Before this fight, we laid out Brandon Figueroa's only real path to victory. Not by changing who he is, but by evolving it. He had to become what we called a pressure cooker with a lid. Relentless pressure, but controlled. High volume, but purposeful. Aggression, layered with tactical responsibility. So now the real question becomes, did Brandon Figueroa actually execute that plan? Let's break it down using the 7 pillars. Footwork, the foundation of all movement. Early on, Nick Ball looked exactly how we expected. Compact steps, purposeful pressure, cutting the ring instead of chasing. Ball wasn't just walking forward, he was funneling Figueroa into exchanges, forcing Brandon to fight at close and mid-range where Ball's counters could shine. For the first half of the fight, this pillar belonged to Ball, but Figueroa was already doing the invisible work. He wasn't rushing, he was occupying space, constant forward motion, subtle herding toward the ropes, making Ball reset again and again. By rounds 9 through 11, that accumulation showed. Even when Ball landed clean, Figueroa kept coming. And now it was Brandon pushing Ball backward. In terms of early control, we give it to Ball, and late control to Figueroa. That shift mattered. 2. Head movement, the art of hitting without being hit. Ball showed functional head movement early, slipping inside, rolling hooks, beating Figueroa to the punch. But here's the problem. Figueroa doesn't care if he gets clipped. In fact, he didn't. He's built to walk through fire. As Ball's energy dipped, his head movement became smaller, slower, no movement most times. And Brandon began landing more consistently with straight shots and looping hooks. Ball wasn't being outclassed. He was being worn down. That distinction is critical. 3. Punch selection, choosing the right weapon. This was one of Ball's strongest areas. Sharp uppercuts, clean hooks, straight shots down the middle. From rounds 3 through 7 especially, Ball's punches were snapping Figueroa's head back. But Brandon never stopped throwing, clusters, flurries, body-head combinations. Even when Ball landed cleaner, Figueroa made sure every round felt busy. This became quality versus quantity. And over time, quantity started shaping the narrative. Exactly as predicted, we predicted. 4. Defense and guard, your shield in the ring. Ball's tight guard and counter-timing served him well early. Figueroa's defense remained open. He took shots to give shots. That's always been his style. But championship fights are about accumulation. While Ball defended well, he was absorbing pressure every single round. Defense isn't just about blocking punches, it's about conserving energy. And Figueroa slowly drained Ball's tank. 5. Ring generalship, controlling every inch. This is where Brandon's blueprint really came alive. Early, Ball controlled geography. But from around round 8 onward, Figueroa began shrinking the ring. Not trapping Ball, but guiding him. Using subtle angles on entry, cutting exits, mixing in clinches when Ball tried to reset. That's elite pressure. That's tactical pressure. That's becoming a pressure cooker with a lid. 6. Combinations and rhythm, breaking defenses. Rounds 9 and 10 were pivotal. Figueroa increased intensity. Bodywork picked up. Successive straight shots started landing. Ball still countered beautifully. Uppercuts, hooks, sharp replies. But Brandon was now setting the rhythm. This is exactly what we outlined pre-fight. Volume with purpose. Ball wasn't being overwhelmed. He was being systematically drained. 7. Mental IQ, the 90% that wins fights. Nick Ball stayed composed and intelligent for most of the fight. But Brandon Figueroa showed something else: unbreakable resolve. Even when Ball tagged him clean, Brandon didn't blink. He stayed emotionally locked in. And when the opening came in round 12, he didn't hesitate. That's championship instinct. And now, the finish early in round 12, Figueroa lands a brutal left hook. Ball goes down. He beats the count. But Figueroa smells blood. Left, right, left. Ball hits the ropes. Ref steps in. Fight over, and the new WBA featherweight champion. That wasn't luck. That was sustained pressure finally reaching its conclusion. So, were we right? Yes and no. No, because we predicted Nick Ball by late TKO or clear unanimous decision. But we correctly predicted Ball's early success through precision, Figueroa's late surge through pressure. A competitive fight decided in the championship rounds. We touched on how Figueroa could win, becoming a pressure cooker with a lid. We gave him a chance. We gave him his due. What exceeded expectations was the ending. This wasn't a points grind. This was a stoppage born from intelligent pressure. Ball was very good, but Figueroa was relentless. And relentlessness, when guided by tactics, wins fights. Let's talk about the undercard results. It was a night full of stoppages, setting the tone for the main event. Jack Turner starts things off with a third-round RTD over Juan Carlos Martinez Urbina. Andrew Kane brings the heat, stopping Alejandro Jair Gonzalez in the 9th round TKO. Hassan Ishak doesn't waste time. Third-round TKO over Leonardo Baez. Brad Strand follows suit. TKO in round 3 against Ruben Lizama Gonzalez. Stephen Clark grinds out an 8th-round TKO over Lewis Howells. Lucas Biswana explodes out the gate. First-round TKO over Liam McMillan. Luke Turner keeps it rolling with a 4th-round TKO over Jensen Irving. William Burchell makes a statement. First-round TKO over Kane Singh. And on points, Jack Swallow beats Paddy Lacey, while Sam Norris takes out Jack England. What a night. Knockouts, fast finishes, and some serious talent on display. Who's your fighter of the night? Comment below. And what next for the Heartbreaker and Wrecking Ball? Figueroa heads back to Texas with the belt and unification in mind. Nick Ball faces the defining chapter of his career. Rematch, rebuild, or another world title run. How he responds will define everything. Ball brought the skill. Figueroa brought the storm, with direction. And in boxing, sometimes the storm wins. It was heartbreak, as reflected in the reaction from Nick Ball's corner and fans. We wish both fighters well. We are NCB7AI and we'll see you soon. Please like, share, and subscribe.